And so that's when doing paintings, I try and do people that I can't have quite well known and have made it the sort of top of their field sort of thing. And yeah, it's when you're giving something to someone and it looks how, not necessarily exactly like the picture, but how they want it, how the client wants it to look, that's a wicked feeling. I dropped off a painting just yesterday, and it's like, it's a buzz when you're like, they're like, oh my god, it looks unreal, or it looks better than the picture. That's the best one, where it's like, it actually looks better than the original, and it's just like, yeah, that hits. And it's like, it's a different type of feeling, do you know what I mean? Because it's, say for example, I do my TV stuff, you're producing the show, and yeah, you know, you'll be an integral part to kind of the show, but there's a lot of other people there helping you produce the show. Whereas when you're producing a piece of art, it's literally you and the canvas, and it's only you, do you know what I mean? So when someone's like, oh my god, that's amazing, it's like, yeah, that's a buzz, do you know what I mean?
What's up, guys? That was Laurence White, and welcome back to another edition of the Harris Health and Mind podcast. Sweet. So should we get into it?
Yeah, man.
Nice. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Harris Health and Mind podcast. Today I've got Laurence White on with me today. Appreciate you coming on, mate.
No worries, man.
Yeah, just want to sort of get into it. For the guys and girls that are listening, sort of tell us about your story. Want to dive straight into it. Tell us about everything when you were growing up, interests, and yeah.
Yeah, man. So I am a TV producer, and now on the side I'm doing a lot of painting. And with that, so I've been in the TV industry now for 6 or 7 years. So I started as a runner. Then I've moved my way up to TV producer at the moment, and that's kind of where I'm at the moment. And yeah, now on the side, I've been doing it for about 6-7 months now. I've been doing a little bit of painting on the side. Yeah. And that seems to be going all right. And so I'm trying to harness kind of, obviously working in the entertainment industry, working with celebrities and, you know, people with followings and all that kind of stuff, trying to merge them two together and hopefully, yeah, create something decent.
Talking about paintings, being very modest, we're sitting in a room with a Drake painting right now, which resembles Drake very well. So I don't think it's just a little bit of painting. It's a good work of art. Just talk about how you got into making art, and also why as well. What sort of things were your passions, or why you got into it in the first place?
So I always like to be doing stuff, and I've tried like loads of different like little businesses and all that kind of stuff, and nothing's really like hit. Like I love TV, doing all that kind of stuff, but I was always like, in my spare time, because it's a freelance industry, you do have like gaps in between jobs, or even just when you come home from work, you've got still time to do stuff. And so I've always like, I don't know, I tried doing a little jeans company thing. I tried doing events, like loads of different things, and nothing's really kind of hit. And then back in the college days, I used to paint and stuff, and I managed to sell a couple of paintings, but I gave it up when I went to uni because it was kind of get a proper college degree, proper uni degree and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of left the art, and so I just went back to it. And it's kind of, I did one piece of Kanye West at the end of last year.
Yeah, so that's
yeah, one of my friends, he was on Love Island at the time. He ended up buying it. He put it up, and then once he posted it, it kind of went a bit crazy and stuff. And so off the back of that, then I've been getting more work. So I'm just now doing that. Yeah.
Do you find when you're doing the paintings as such, when you first start, what's the process? I know we're talking off air. Do you sort of go for someone like Kanye West, knowing that it may, sort of explode, or do you just try and do something that you want to do or you're comfortable with? What's the process for you?
No, not at all. Like, so with any of the paintings that I'm doing, apart from the very first one, which was Kanye West, I love Kanye West, like, as in how confident he is in himself. Yeah. And so I was just like, look, I'm going to do that because I just personally really like Kanye West. But then since Kanye West, I only do commissions. So for those that don't know, it's anyone who's like asking for a painting, I'll only do that. Just because I enjoy making like that other person happy in terms of like getting what they want and that kind of thing. And I've just been lucky enough to be able to have enough people want a painting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
To be able to keep that workflow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Just want to sort of take it right back, if I can, and ask some ask some questions. I heard your interview recently, which you did in the car, and you spoke about having dyslexia. Is that right? Can't even say
Dyslexia.
Dyslexia.
Yeah.
Talk about the process of sort of how that is within your art, and did you find that difficult when you was in school? And also, you're obviously now a producer and stuff. Talk about the difficulties that you've maybe had to have within, the school, the art, and even your work with producing as well with that.
Yeah, like off the back of it was My Car Stories was the interview you're talking about, and off the back of that, a few people got in touch about like it's nice hearing that and all that kind of stuff. But I never wanted it to be like a thing, like
no,
because I don't see dyslexia as a thing.
No.
It's just something that I have, and you adapt to get around it. So like practically, it means that I find reading difficult. I find spelling words difficult and that kind of stuff. And in terms of art, it means that I kind of see stuff slightly different. I've talked about the way that a painting's put together. A lot of people will work up one section of a painting, so you've got like a realistic eye, and then they move on to a nose, and they've got a realistic nose, whereas I kind of work around the whole painting at the same time, and that's just because I've been told that it's because of dyslexia that's just the way you see things, and that's the way you piece things together. But yeah, in terms of life, I think you just gotta you move past it, do you know what I mean, and make it work. In terms of the stuff that I do TV wise, I tend to not like, in entertainment TV, you often have to read and write scripts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's why I do a lot more kind of reality stuff, because that kind of means that I don't have to necessarily do that.
Yeah.
So you just kind of work it out, do you know what I mean? Or you'll take a job that, I don't know, is filming or, producing on location, rather than having to do the skills that will put you out your comfort zone because of dyslexia. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I think, like you said, that's an important point, not to see it as something that's a restriction, and use it as an advantage, which is key. I think for me, I'm interested because I've got a couple of clients as well that are sort of final stages of school, GCSEs and stuff coming up, that also, I think one of the boys, he finds it easier having a pen and paper, but they're dotted lines, so he finds everything easier writing in a specific structure. So yeah, it was interesting to get your sort of take on that and moving forwards, because I think some people listening can take things away and be like, yeah, that's not something that's going to hold me back. Because I think some people maybe, whether it's schools or whatever, sort of push people and be like, this could hold you back. So it's key to...
Yeah, but I think it's all a mindset kind of thing. 100%. And not to get too serious with it, but it's like, if you see something as an obstacle, it's going to be an obstacle. And like, I don't like complaining. If you're going to moan about something, you've got to do something about it. Do you know what 100%. I mean? And so if you are going to complain about something, you can't keep complaining about it, or no one's listening. I listen to a lot of Gary Vaynerchuk, and he talks about the fact that if you are complaining but not doing anything about it, the only people that are listening to you are your other losing players, he calls it. And that's true. Like no one does care, like, really, if you know what I mean.
You're just playing into that subconscious. So when it comes to a point where you have to do something, you're going to find that in the back of your subconscious to, again, continue to complain and not take action. And I think Gary Vee's obviously huge on taking action as opposed to...
Exactly, I mean, that's quite a severe version of it, like nobody cares, but it's more like just do something about it rather than sit there complaining about it, if you know what I mean. Yeah,
for sure. Also, as well, in terms of the producing side of things, how have you found that within your structure of how you do your arts as well? Do you find you piece stuff together better because of sort of your job in the production side of things, or do you think that has no sort of bearing on your art?
No, not so much. I mean, like by a day, I'm TV producing and doing various bits, working on various entertainment and reality TV shows and stuff. And then because this is literally like a side hustle, side thing, which seems to be going well, and it's kind of what's led to this, and things are coming off the back of it. I'm just seeing where it's going, and you just got to put in the time, like off the back of your day job and what have you, to then do this other stuff. But I think working in TV and doing the art stuff is helping, because people that I work with, like, so the presenters or the the talent and all that kind of stuff, they're they're just like friends and people that follow us already. Do you know what I mean? And so that's like helping to get things out there a little bit quicker maybe than if I wasn't in the industry, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you're sort of using that platform as an advantage, rather than either deciding not to use it at all and sort of go the other way. And I think that's quite an important message, because sometimes people, will start something which maybe can be used online, but for whatever reason don't really like the social side of things, and just try and get it out and almost be a bit stubborn and say, well, I want to do it myself type of thing, when you can use, friends or influencers to sort of help you as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, they're friends and stuff like that, but I'm not like going to them like begging to do stuff. It's more like they just like the stuff and they want something for themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than I'm just lucky enough that I know them people, rather than me going to them like begging them, oh, can I do this for you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because I'm aware that that relationship's more important than the quick term painting that you may do for them.
And also they're probably going to have tons of people asking them the same thing.
Do you know what I mean?
So.
And I hate begging.
Yeah.
I hate a bit like begging nature of it. So,
but no, I think that is crucial and that's key. And I've obviously seen a lot of your stuff, on social media, and I think it is a great tool to get things
it's
out
everything,
there.
man. It's everything.
And it's only going to be the way moving forwards. We've seen it with a lot of shops and stuff, high street. A lot of things like that are closing down. So if you can get that following initially, I think if you do take it over to something else, or you do take it over to doing, little small shows, museums, whatever, you can get that following off the back of it from the socials. I think that's key. I don't know if completely different topic, but have you heard of #United?
No, what's that?
Have you heard of them? They were basically a Sunday League football team that started. And, you probably played, and I've played Sunday League football, and, it's not a great level, but they had two guys that were really interested in filming and liked football. So they just started filming football teams on a Sunday, but they really produced it. So they started it like FIFA. So they get all the players mugshots like FIFA. They get everyone together, do ratings, do everything, and then put the game together like it was an actual Premier League game.
Yeah.
But they've now got 500,000 on like YouTube. They've got maybe like 1 million on Instagram. They've got a huge following. Wow. And now they've entered into, I think it must be Furlough None, same as House to Town. Furlough None, South or North 1. I can't remember what div it is. But I think they're about to be crowned like champions. But they've, off the back of having that social side of things, I think they played Housestead a few weeks ago, and it was like 500 fans there. And if you're going to watch teams non-league at a very, very low level, you're probably going to
ain't getting that.
10 men and a dog,
or
boyfriends, girlfriends, whoever, family members going. You're not getting that. So I think you can see the transferable side of things if you can get that social following. And I think that's even more becoming evident with, again, it's a completely different subject, but in terms of having that side of things. And I think they did like the Wembley Cup a few weeks ago as well, and I think there was about 20,000 at Wembley through loads of different teams that have now set up off the sort of back of that. So I think the socials and sort of getting yourself out there is key. Just talk about, I know we sort of spoke off air in terms of yourself. Talk about what it's like to sort of invest in yourself and spend that time in a particular painting or your paintings as well.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly to touch on the social media side of things as well. Like, I think I back in the day when I was doing it before, like when I was doing paintings at college, I was like 10 years ago now. Like Facebook was just starting or something like that, and then Instagram weren't about at that time. Yeah. And so to get stuff out there, it weren't how it is now. You didn't have social media where a load of people can see your stuff. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of like MSN Messenger, and like no one's seeing a damn thing. Whereas now, like that's why picking it back up, I think things are heading in the right direction fairly swift, because you're able to just get to as many people. So many people like so quick. Yeah. And I think the people that are getting in touch about like potentially wanting the painting done and that kind of stuff, it's word of mouth, but that word of mouth is through social media first. Like someone's seen it, then they've told a mate and that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then in terms of investing in social media, first and foremost, I've stepped it up massive. Like I think I have been around kind of being in industry and past situations, been around a lot of kind of social media, and I never really took it that serious and stuff. But then when you see kind of the effects and what it can do, just like your story there about kind of hashtag United, when you see what it can do, it's an unbelievable business like tool to get yourself out there.
Yeah.
And so at the minute I'm just putting a load of time into producing the work itself, but I spend equal amounts of time on distributing it.
Yeah.
So producing the content is the painting, and then distributing it is even more important, I think. Because there will always be, I don't know, there's better players than David Beckham, but David Beckham's probably one of the most well-known people football-wise.
Personal brand as well.
Personal brands. Obviously, you got Messi and obviously all them big boys, but like, for me, there was a lot of David Beckhams at that standard.
But I think he
just killed it on the.
I think he, as much as obviously agents, I think he markets himself quite a lot. I think it'd be interesting to be sort of in that space of his, because I think he has a vision for marketing with certain things that he does, whereas things like Ronaldo and Messi, I think to a certain extent both have a vision of themselves, more so probably Ronaldo, but I think a lot of it is because of where they're at in their careers. It's like, okay, we'll give them this, whereas I think Beck's early on, like obviously with the Spice Girls and stuff, they had that vision of I need to market myself, and just an absolute advocate for that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we spoke a little bit off air as well about like, it is still quite new to me. Like, as in even sitting here doing this is kind of crazy in itself, and it's, I think even now, just because I do have a proper day job and all this kind of stuff, it's still getting used to what's happening. And like I said, even though this may appear like fairly small still, or I don't know how it looks, but for me this is a big deal because it's like I don't necessarily always put myself out there, and I think there's something quite narcissistic about maybe having a your personal brand, like as in like quite it's an arrogant thing maybe. Do you know what I mean? Like to be kind 100%. Of just constantly putting yourself out there. But I'm just trying to push past the mental side of like getting past that. I guess fear maybe of what other people are thinking, and just keep putting it out, and hopefully something eventually will come good off the back of it. But I always try and tell myself, well, other people are not paying the mortgage, so you got to, do you know what I mean? At least give it a go and see what happens.
For sure. I think as well, I don't think we're taught at a young age how to be comfortable with even, you can call it marketing yourself, you can call it branding yourself, or
you don't
putting yourself out there
anywhere.
You don't, do you? And I think and like you said, and then because we're not taught that, and all we see sometimes from people that maybe necessarily do, or people that are very good at that, is almost sort of that judgment side of things, where it's like, how dare they sort of, it's a social CV. I've got a degree in this, I've got a degree in this, I've got a degree in this, or whatever it is. And sometimes I think we almost judge that person, but at the end of the day, they're very good at, marketing themselves for whatever role that they're doing, or whatever job, or whatever brand they're trying to get out there, and it's effective. And if you don't, you're only going to get work from people who see things and are like, actually, I like this. I like the confidence in someone, as opposed to someone who seems a bit timid, or who's like, a bit snobbish at someone else marketing themselves. So I think it's difficult, and I think the more we can teach that at a younger age, the easier it is when you're a bit older, because it's repetition and habit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's normal to. I think that once you finish college, uni, whatever education, you still got to keep learning. You still got to invest in yourself in terms of just learning life skills. Even just stuff like, I don't know, taxes and more even mortgages and stuff like that. You don't learn none of that, life skills I'm talking about. So you always got to kind of be putting back in and reading around stuff. Do you know what I mean?
For sure. In terms of when you're doing the paintings and stuff like that, just talk about sort of your mindset, and also where your head's at, and when you've commissioned paintings and then also given them to people, what are you like when you've given that painting to someone, and that you've seen them and they're either lit up, or they're really thankful, and they're so grateful. What's that like for you?
Well, at the moment, I'm only taking on commissions, and I'll be lucky enough that I can be a little bit selective over what I'm choosing to paint.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm only painting people that I'm interested in myself, in terms of people that have made it, people that are successful. Just because when I'm doing a painting, I like to not get into the head of them, but like I put a lot of quotes up on my Instagram along with with my paintings and stuff like that, and they talk about like the rules to success and all that kind of stuff, and I quite like to get into the kind of how they got the story behind how they got to where they are, which is why I'm painting them in the first place, sort of thing. And so that's when doing paintings, I try and do people that are kind of quite well known and have made it to sort of top of their field, sort of thing. And yeah, it's when you're giving something to someone and it looks how, not necessarily exactly like the picture, but how they want it, how the client wants it to look. That's a wicked feeling. I dropped off a painting just yesterday, and it's like, it's a buzz when you're like, they're like, oh my god, it looks unreal, or it looks better than the picture. That's the best one, where it's like, it actually looks better than the original one. It's just like, yeah, that hits, and it's like, it's a different type of feeling. Do you know what I mean? Because it's, say for example, I do my TV stuff. You're producing the show, and yeah, you know, you'll be an integral part to kind of the show, but there's a lot of other people there helping you produce the show. Whereas when you're producing a piece of art, it's literally you and the canvas, and it's only you. Do you know what I mean? So when someone's like, oh my god, that's amazing, it's like, yeah, that's a buzz. Do you know what I mean?
You get that abundance of joy from that individual, and the thankfulness.
It's a different feeling, yeah. And that's why, like, I am proper grateful for anyone who does comment or like on my pictures, because it's like, it's the little kick that I personally need as well to keep doing it. Do you know what I mean? Because like we were speaking about earlier, it's difficult sometimes to keep doing it when you either not getting the feedback or you're a little bit like unsure of yourself at times. Do you know what I mean? And it's good to just keep doing it for that reason.
And I think it's an important thing to say as well, because social media sometimes can almost be masking what people are actually, you know, going through. So like if you're if you're doing a painting, like you said, and people are liking it, but you're not necessarily getting, you know, the feedback. Sometimes like you say, that one comment could be like, right, that 25 hours that I put into the painting, you know, is going to help me on the next 25 hours or whatever it is.
100%.
You know, because sometimes people scroll through and it's like a habit, isn't it? It's bam, 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 just like, you know, another painting, like. Whereas if someone comments on that and be like, oh my God, like, you know, my brother really used to like Drake, passed away or whatever, this picture really, like, do you know what I mean? It touches you
or
differently.
Like tag someone. I love it when someone will tag someone because they're like, oh my God, it's so good, I need to tell this person.
Yeah.
That for me is the biggest compliment of all. So, yeah, that's definitely the one.
And when you're talking about use the word success there as well, do you sort of, how do you define success? Because I find it such a difficult word, because in that moment of when, like you say, you commissioned a painting, you've dropped it off to someone and they're, you know, ecstatic and you know, you're forever grateful. Don't you find that in that moment, ultimately you are, you know, it was a success, or you are successful within that?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
It's a difficult one, because sometimes I think we find success as something that we're always running and chasing all the time.
Yeah, and I think.
But just talk about how you do. I don't know how.
Well, yeah, and
it.
I'm trying to chill out on that, because I always set myself quite strict goals. In terms of, I want to be this age and do this, and I want to be doing that by that time. But it doesn't always pan out like that, and I think that, especially this year, I'm trying to chill out a little bit more, in that you'll work yourself up and you'll cripple yourself by trying to make everything fit into the exact box that you want it to be in.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you've got like ambition and a place that you're striving to get to, but also at the same time, just day to day, just chill out a little bit more with it and just have fun doing it. Otherwise, yeah, when you get there, it's not how you thought it would be. Even like in TV and stuff, with what I'm doing, it's like how I thought being a producer would feel like isn't how it feels like. You know?
Yeah.
And so you set that as a goal to get there and do it as young as possible. And I managed to do that, but it's not, like, it's amazing. Like, I love what I'm doing and stuff, but it's not, you have a thought of how you think it's going to feel.
Yeah.
And yeah, it lives up and sometimes it doesn't. Do you know what I mean? But if you didn't enjoy the process along the way, then you're kind of missing out on what it is. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And with the art, in terms of where I'm trying to get to and like what's deemed as like successful, I guess doing the stuff that I'm doing is successful, but I'm just trying to get to kind of bigger people. Do you know what I mean? Like kind of
Yeah.
the biggest people wanting painting sort of thing, like that I look up to, would be the ultimate kind of success thing. Do you know what I mean?
And with that, when you get there, would that be for the validation side of things? So say this picture right now with Drake in, if someone hit you up and was like, look, Drake's coming over to London, can you bring this painting, whatever, would that point be right, is success, or would there have to be things off the back of that, even though that did happen? So Drake, has got your painting, you've had a picture with Drake, you've met Drake, he maybe invites you on tour to do more. Would that be off the back of what could happen off meeting those bigger people that you think the success is, or just actually initially getting to those bigger people?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I see like even doing this today as like as a win. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and just keep doing it, and more and more stuff is coming off the back of it. And yeah, I guess that's just personally, I want to get to the top of whatever I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so I would see that as the top, because that's just what I'm interested in, like getting to, musicians or actors, do you know what I mean? And being at the very top of things. Like that's just personally where I'm trying to get to. And yeah, I would see that as kind of making it as such. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Especially when you do one a Denzel or something like that.
And then Denzel's picking it up.
Denzel, sure.
But like we was talking again like off air about like it's a process, isn't it? Like you don't just. I think that in fact there was an artist the other day. I think he's from Nigeria or something like that, a little kid or something. And Kevin Hart just saw his stuff and like commissioned him to do a couple of pieces and stuff like that. That kind of stuff does happen, but in the meantime, I think it's a process of getting to like, I don't know, a Kevin Hart or a, even a Kanye West or something like that who wants something. You got to be ready for that. So there's a process and work that needs to go in behind the scenes so that when they do ask, you're able to deliver what they want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're fully ready in that moment, as opposed to doing a painting and it's a brilliant painting, but you're not quite ready, and all of a sudden it actually does get commissioned, and you're like, fuck, right, I'm here now. And you haven't gone through those, like we said off air when we spoke, like there's so many different bits that if we can get ready for that at any point, you're commissioned or you do big pieces for people, exactly what steps, if something goes wrong, how to deal with them. I think that's key, isn't it?
Exactly. And I'm just after this, I'm off to go and paint my first wall.
Okay.
And I know that may not sound like a big thing, but it's it's a big piece of Ice Cube, and it's onto a wall, and that's the first wall I've ever done. So I just want to know that, not even just paint onto a wall, because that'll be fine, but it's more like how long it will take when it's a lot bigger. Will oil paint stick to the wall?
Yeah.
how it does on the canvas, that kind of stuff. And when you're learning, so when, I don't know, someone bigger comes along, then you can be like, yeah, okay, cool. Well, it takes this amount of time, and this, and I need to use this paint. Do you know what I mean? You'll just be ready for it.
And I guess you don't know until you've done that. Like you were saying off air, just stepping out of that comfort zone and going into something that maybe forces, not necessarily mistakes, but maybe forces you to think about how to change things up. I think that's key as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like when opportunity meets preparation. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, that's what we're just trying to do in the meantime.
Sick. Good stuff. Also, as well, I saw on your Instagram you're doing was it a small group of painters coming in?
Yeah.
And you started doing that. Is that something that you're interested in doing, or something that you're looking to do?
Yeah, I mean, at the minute, I'm just taking what comes in. Do you know what I mean? And just seeing what I enjoy, seeing what works and that kind of stuff. Because, like I said, it's still fairly early days in the general scheme of things, I think. And so, an opportunity comes up if I like the idea, and I'm quite selective in terms of what I'm doing at the minute, just because I think that I don't want to do a load of stuff, and the brand reputation is kind of more important to me right now than the short-term cash money of doing something that may pay a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? At the minute, I'm getting like a lot of people that I did a painting of my friend's kid. And I put that up on social media, and then I got maybe like 5 or 6 people within that week. Like, can you do kids? But that's not really what I want to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're willing to pay for it and that kind of stuff. But it's just not something I want to do, and that's not where I'm trying to get to or where I see it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that money will be good in the short term, but in terms of if I then put that on my social media, it looks like I do more of that.
Yeah.
And then more and more people get in touch, and then if people are willing to pay more, then it gets a bit like, oh, can you turn that down? And then, do you know what I mean? And then you start getting into the place that you didn't want to.
It's almost like if you wanted to do something from a young age and you potentially had the chance to do that, but all of a sudden, let's say you went to university, got a degree in this, and this high paying job came up and it was 30 grand more than what you actually wanted to do. And then you're almost balancing, right, is it the money that I'm taking for something that, I've got a degree in, I can do the job, as opposed to something that actually I really have wanted to do since I was a child. It pays me. I might be able to advance in the future. Like, you're playing like a little juggle game, aren't you? I think it's key that you. How do you do that with? Is it easier as such because you're sort of just first starting out, I guess, to juggle that balance between? Because I know some people will find that difficult and almost, think, I've got a mortgage to pay or I've got this.
Yeah, I mean,
let me take the money. How is it for you for making sure that you're in touch with knowing that it's your brand and what you want to get out there?
Because at the minute, because I do have a day job in TV, I can do that. And so because it is at the moment a thing that's on the side, it's kind of like, well, if I don't want to do it, I can still pay my bills and get by and blah blah blah, because I already have a job to get, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
to deal with that kind of stuff. Whereas I think if painting was like the sole thing, well then you do need to pay bills and that kind of stuff. So it would then be like, well, I don't really want to do it, but kind of, I'll just do it because that'll mean I can just relax a bit more this month, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's why I am being selective over what's happening and what I'm doing and that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So when it comes to that final point, what do you feel like you'll be in a better place and ready to either say, I need to focus on the painting now, and leave the producing, or do you feel like you're gonna go for a while until you get more comfortable in terms of?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'll be needing to make that decision anytime soon. I think I feel lucky that I'm able to do both at the same time.
Yeah.
Maybe in time I'll maybe step back from the amount of shows, instead of doing like a full year's worth of back-to-back shows, maybe doing, I don't know, 1 or 2 jobs a year or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And because it's a freelance industry, you do have that luxury, assuming that people want to employ you and stuff. Yeah. But you've got that luxury where you can be a bit flexible. I think that a lot of people work in like, employed jobs. And so you don't have that same kind of flexibility. Yeah, you get holiday and stuff, but you can't choose to take off a couple of months at a time to go and do whatever you want to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without taking a sabbatical, is it?
Yeah, sabbatical.
Yeah.
Most places will give after a certain amount of years there, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. And yeah, just coming back to the personal brand thing as well. I think that I personally just see a lot of people on Instagram, especially because that's the one at the moment. Yeah. I'd see a lot of people just posting like, I don't know, what's that? People, this is the one where the girls put the that hair pill in their mouth and they're like chomping on it.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean? And they're just promoting just a load of just shit, basically. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, I'll stop following you for that exact reason. Do you know what I mean? Because what you're offering, like, what is your thing? And if you're just doing everything, then that's not like what you're standing for. Do you know what I mean? If you're trying to create something meaningful, I get like people doing it for just money, but at the same time, if you're trying to build something proper, then for the long term, then
yeah, for sure. And I think, like you said, sort of going back to your earlier point, when you're sort of juggling between two things, I think sometimes people, whether it's they go into a reality TV show and they get fame from that, and then almost of a sudden they're probably going to have, I don't know, 10, 15 brands saying, can you promote this? Can you promote this?
Yeah.
Maybe because they haven't had that, like we said, the process of understanding what can happen off the back of it, taking their time initially as well and going, actually, let me just assess what I'm about. Let me figure out what I want to do moving forward. So I may have got some fame and success from this, but I need to figure out what I'm going to do, because then that's what I want to push. Like you said, I think there's a lot of people that, where it's, you know, like the teeth, you know, whitening thing, whether it's, don't know, protein powder. Like there's a lot of people that go into the same thing and sell the same stuff. I think you got to figure out what you want to do and who you want to target and why as well.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's key.
Exactly. I've got I have just taken on my first brand deal with Hobbycraft, and they supply like art equipment and materials and all that kind of stuff. And that makes sense because it's down the same line. Do you get what I mean? Rather than, I don't know.
I'm a footballer, but most of my brands are, I don't know, selling ab trainers or something like that.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Just exactly. Like an ab trainer for me, it's nothing to do with what I'm doing painting wise. Do you know what I mean? So it wouldn't be.
But also, I think you want that connect. Also, as well, I think what we probably strive for, like even when people are grateful from your commission, I think what you want when people are reaching out to you is to almost understand you and understand your art and be grateful for that and have that connection. Whatever you are selling, even if it is like you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. There's more to it than just knocking out a painting. There's like
yeah,
exactly. You know, if you're coming to me, you're getting someone who is painting these types of people, is in them kind of circles, that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Rather than, just a bit of a messy message. Do you know what I mean?
And you're getting again, even if it's you're doing a brand within a specific, I don't know, painting materials or whatever, you've got that connection there. They can understand what you want to try and achieve. You're obviously may use a lot of their stuff. Like there's that connection there, whereas people I think sometimes just go, right, who can we get out to, who can we sort of use who's maybe a bit more diverse as well. And I think for people starting out, I think that's key to sort of factor in as well.
I think as well, like especially on social media, and I keep using Instagram as the reference because it's the hottest one at the minute. I think the kind of first wave of the first wave of Instagram stars and all that kind of stuff, that's gone. Do you know what I mean? And so I think in this second wave, I was reading something the other day and it was talking about to win now you have to be authentic. And I do believe that in that because there are so many people with huge followings. So, I mean, they can do these massive deals and that kind of stuff. Just being true to yourself, and even if you have got a little bit of a smaller following, doing stuff that's true and kind of like I paint up in my bedroom. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? At the minute, and I don't know how that looks. Who knows? But that's my reality. I'm not going to go hire out a studio for X amount of pounds a week to make it look like I'm making it. Do you know what I mean? I'm just doing me, and I think that, or I'd like to think that people are resonating with that rather than me trying to front and be like, oh, I've made it. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
For sure. And I think that is vitally key. I think that message there as well will change so many people that not even have any sort of following, but just using social media as an example, because a lot of people look to people, I think at times, and go, oh, you know, they've got money just off the back of what their social media, again, just using Instagram, what their Instagram looks like. And we all know that, you know, people may have those things, but they have so many debts or whatever off the back of trying to create an image of something that they necessarily haven't got. So I think that is key. And yeah, I think you can. I think people that are sort of authentic, I think more people on like Instagram especially are seeing through people that aren't. I think that's why it's becoming harder.
Like I'll tell you what, that it's literally a joke. I think you'll look at a picture, right, and you'll be like, oh my god, they're wearing this, that, and that. The stuff's fake. Do you know what I mean?
Got it from Turkey.
Got it from Turkey. Got it from Turkey, or like or even like you're acting like you're fronting, and then like you're doing well, whatever. The TV show that you've been on goes away. You then lose a lot of your brand deals over time. You're then working a normal job. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's that kind of stuff. And it's like, if you've got to try and keep up with that image, that's difficult. Do you know what I mean? If that's not your actual reality. Yeah. And so, I just think it's such a dangerous cycle to get into. And I love Instagram, man. Like, I'm on it all day, every day.
It's the one, isn't it? It's the one for everyone, I think.
Yeah, and it's more peaceful to be off it, I find sometimes, but you kind of can't. Do you know what I mean? Especially, like, I'm now posting every day, or most days. I don't want to be doing that, but to build the following and that kind of stuff, you have to do it. If I could just get rid of it, I would get rid of it.
Yeah. Do you use I think there's an app called Unum. Do you use that?
Well, is that a schedule your posts?
Yeah, it's like a schedule. So it's supposed to make it do you know what I mean, easier, so you don't have to spend that time of sort of going on there, you know, every day and being like, right, I need to post this today, or you know, and then thinking about the caption. You can do it all.
But you can't you can't really, because like if anyone messages me or like or comments on I'll reply to every single comment and I'll reply to every single DM. And I don't think you can do like that's part of you have to put the time in. That's part of the hook, isn't it? I think is that engagement is you being actively. It's like WhatsApp, you know, when people can see when you're on or when you've last been on and stuff. It's that engagement of right, someone's commented on my picture, you know, and the type of person you are, you know, you find that as something that thrives you for the next painting. You're gonna comment back. So it's difficult to be like, oh, I'm going to spend 6-7 days away, and you can't. Yeah. Like, and even like now, where I'm putting out stuff a lot, I want to just take a break for like a week or 2 weeks. But you know, if it's good stuff, like I posted a picture yesterday with Chloe from Geordie Shore. Do you know what I mean? And it did well online and that kind of stuff. And it's like, he wants to be in the moment and authentic, so you kind of don't have a choice. It's like you have to put that up. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, it's difficult. It's difficult, but I think that's just where we live now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you use with your page? Is it set up as like business? Do you use it as all the structures and seeing what sort of timings and that your pictures do well and what types of pictures?
All that kind of stuff. Yeah. You got to like. It's a bit of a shame really, because I used to just use my Instagram and Facebook and bloody blah as just
personal.
Yeah. And like putting up nice pictures. Now it's like, because you have to be so niche to stand out. Do you know what I mean? All my stuff is just art, so you wouldn't be able to tell whether I'm out and about or anything like that from my Instagram page really. These days it's kind of just all focused on one thing. But I've been speaking to your brother, who you had on before as well, and he's been massively helpful in terms of just explaining like how it all works, like how the business page works, how to do Instagram ads, how to do that kind of stuff. Because he's someone that's good at it.
Yeah, he spends his time on that, mate. He enjoys that.
He's a marketing genius, I tell you.
He finds that for fun, mate. He's at Tony Robbins today, actually. Yeah.
No way. He's over it.
Tony Robbins. Yeah. 4 days. Yeah, 4 days. XL London. So,
is he?
Yeah, no doubt he'll come back and try and throw some more gems your way. He's on it already. Yesterday I was on the phone to him and he says, I've got so much energy, and I'm just decent.
Yeah.
So his head's going to explode with the amount of info he tries giving me when he comes back, which is good. And I think he's killing it as well. That's key. What you're speaking about there, obviously, like how important is it for you to have maybe people that aren't necessarily, I guess, close friends or family members as well for like the work side of stuff? Because sometimes I think it can either go both ways, kind of with like friends and family. You're either going to have like the family that are really, really supportive of you, and that, you know, any ideas that you have or whatever that you may run by them, it's like, oh, this is great, you know. Same with, you know, friends, or it might be the opposite, that they just don't care, not bothered. So how do you have like mentors, you know, other artists, or, you know, even people like Shane that that you can sort of speak to and they suggest certain things for, again, business or even the art side of things?
Yeah, I mean, I like to collaborate with other people that are doing well. So like just even speaking to your brother and various other people in the industry and that kind of stuff, that's helpful, because they've been there, done it, so they get it. Yeah. I've recently just taken on a little management team. So there's a couple of the girls that are helping me now with the deals and pushing stuff out there and stuff like that. And I kind of really just go to them as to if we can collectively come to a decision or whatever. Obviously, I have the final say, but it's kind of, I'll run things by them. If they're like, yeah, okay, cool, let's do it, I'm like, yeah, sweet, we're going for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And so, they help keep things a little bit, not grounded, because that's probably the wrong word, but do you know what I mean? They give me a bit of perspective, and because they're close to me, like, they'll just be honest. Do you know what I mean? If something's coming off, like, it's cheesy, or like you don't need to be doing that, they'll say, do you know what I mean? Yeah,
and it's difficult, like you're saying, sometimes we're so engrossed in what we're trying to do for the right reasons, it's hard to get that perspective if you don't have, those people around you to say, look, maybe try doing this, or stop, doing this, think about what you're doing, or, just giving some different perspective on things. Because I know sometimes some people find that as help. I mean, me especially, I prefer that and I like that, but sometimes it's difficult when you don't have that all the time there and you work on your own.
I like all the feedback. I like getting, if you're going to comment and say something negative, cool, love it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, say what you need to say, because I would rather get an understanding and know what people are thinking rather than, just saying it's good all the time or not saying anything at all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I find that quite helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Within your art, especially, this is a question I was having this discussion the other day with some of my friends. With your art, when you're potentially maybe seeing other people, if you're using hashtags or whatever on Instagram specifically, and you're seeing other artists' art, how is that within yourself? Do you find that there's a side of you, almost like a competition, where you're like, I want to be better than this person? Because I had this conversation the other day, and a lot of my friends were like, nah, if I see something, I want to be better than that. Whereas for me, I'm like, I see something, I'm like, that's sick, like, well done, sort of thing, almost like a congratulatory type thing. But it can still fuel you. Whereas I don't know, I had this sort of debate the other day, and it was like, nah, I want to be better than that. Or for me, I don't see it as like, I want to be. Obviously, I've got things that I want to do, but again, with like the podcast, I listen to people and I listen to podcasts, and I'm like, that's so good, like the way you're delivering the questions or your approaches or whatever. And I'm not like, right, I need to be better than that. I don't know. How do you find things when you're seeing, these pieces online or whatever? I don't know, are you like go into sort of fight mode and right, I want to do better than this? Or,
yeah, a little bit. Like I'm massive in like, I want everyone to win. Like, do you know what I mean? I got no negative for anyone who's trying to do something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And so I want you to win. Even if I go onto another podcast, I want them to.
Yeah,
like, I want everyone,
100%.
And there's enough. I don't know, abundance or whatever you want to call it. There's enough to go around, and so I look around on Instagram and stuff. There's a couple of people I'm really influenced by and stuff like that, and their stuff is amazing. Like, I'm, I guess, trying to get to that level, but I'm also confident in that I know my stuff is kind of better than a lot of what's out there.
Yeah.
And so, but it's also not as good as some of the stuff that's out there. So I'm always trying to get to the top / be the best out there. So yeah, that's just the way I think. Well, you play football as well and stuff, but just having that competitive kind of nature, it kind of, you don't want to just be average. Average is getting you nowhere. Do you know what I mean? And so you always strive to produce the best, not necessarily against someone else, but just produce the best piece that you can do, or do you know what I mean? Do that job the best you can. But yeah, like I said, it's not in like a hate way. Do you know what I mean?
No.
I think it's amazing. Like, I'd love to do like collabs and all that kind of stuff, rather than, oh no, I can't do something with that person because their stuff's similar or better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
In terms of that, have you, or do you, and what's the process for you in terms of you learning? Do you use those, specifically if it's someone on maybe like YouTube that does art and maybe you look up to or whatever, and they're doing, I don't know, a piece on how to draw? How do you sort of learn? I'm interested in how you learn and how you get better. Do you, I don't know, see sort of videos, or is it self-taught? What's the process?
Yeah, like, I mean, you learn a few basics at school. Not the basics, like, you learn... the basics. You learn the basics at school, college. From there, it's all just kind of self-taught, really. You look around as ideas, oh, you could do that. But essentially, it's by doing the next painting and the next painting, how that paint blends with that paint and blah-de-blah, that you kind of learn how to produce a better picture, or how you see it, that you want it to be in your mind. There's no, unless you're going to go to art classes and all that kind of stuff, then it's all kind of self-taught and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
And within the art class that you did most recently, what's the process between you obviously putting a piece together yourself to then collectively trying to get people to understand? How does that work for you?
Well, that was do you know what I mean? It was I get what you're saying, and it was an eye opener, because I got approached by Draw and Liquor, which is a great concept. It's literally just have a few drinks. The artist comes up and they teach the class on how to paint the picture that and everyone tries to paint the same picture or whatever. And kind of leading that class was a bit mental because stuff that I think is so simple. I see it as I paint by numbers, so it's quite in my head. It's quite simple, if that makes sense. Whereas when you're trying to when you see other people trying to do it, and I'm like, paint that bit there. It's obviously not as easy as I thought it was. Do you know what I mean? And that was a real eye opener for me in that respect.
Yeah, so it's almost, again, like sort of football coaching as well. It's trying to understand the individual and how they see something and.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. You're using the football reference, obviously being a football coach as well and stuff, and it's like, I don't know. Who was it? Was it Paolo Di Canio? Was he at Watford?
West Ham, wasn't he?
No. Like as in when he was managing. Sorry.
Oh,
I can't remember.
Sunderland, wasn't he? Sunderland, Swindon, all of that.
Exactly, or whoever it is, like a manager that's
a top level manager who's gone
Zinedine
down.
Zidane, for example, one of the best players of all time. He sometimes I could see that he could struggle trying to teach someone how to do something because what seems easy to him ain't that easy. Yeah. But when you're blessed with like a talent and ability like he was, then you don't necessarily see how good you are to the outside. Do you know what I mean? And so even just playing that pass to what do you know what I mean? What is straightforward isn't necessarily straightforward. And not that I'm on that level yet, but it was kind of crazy that I'm just like, obviously just paint that bit black, for example, and it was like, but I can't really see how that comes together, and it's like, okay, fair enough. It's and you got to be understanding to know that isn't the case. Do you know what I mean?
Was there times that even when you were getting a little bit frustrated because you maybe went around to 2 or 3 people and they said the same thing, and you're like, right, I've just said the same thing to that person, but like.
Yeah. I mean, people were saying the same stuff, but it wasn't. It's such a chill vibe at that event. It's not like kind of
everyone's there that have to get. Like,
exactly. They don't have to get it right, but they were just exactly. They were just pleased to come away with something that looks vaguely like at the time it was Jay-Z that I was painting or had painted, and they're just glad that it looks roughly like what it's meant to. But because I kind of paint by numbers and was telling them to do the same, I think they were quite pleased that it did look similar-ish to the kind of what it was meant to.
So is that painting by numbers, is that something that's completely different?
I ain't seen it that much. I don't focus a lot on other artists and what they're doing, but obviously there's a few people I do follow, but from what I've seen out there, there's no one really doing the way I do it, sort of thing. Which maybe is a good thing or bad thing. I don't know whether that is or not. Do you know what I mean? It's just the way I do it. But in terms of trying to help someone else do something or paint like that, then it's a little bit easier. I would suggest.
For sure. And have you tried any other methods, and that the painting by numbers is something that's worked easiest for you?
Stick to what's winning, man. Yeah. Stick to what's winning.
Oh, straight. You're right, mate.
Yeah. I need like an Instagram ad now that I've got the formula for like getting, do you know what I mean? As many clicks as possible and people coming to the profile with an ad, just keep doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes, how much can you afford to put into it?
For sure. In terms of that time, I know we spoke off air in this Drake picture in the room now, you said it took about 25 hours total. When you put that time into the painting, and that painting, let's say, hasn't necessarily maybe got the traction that you was after, or let's say even you thought it was something that didn't look as what maybe you wanted it to end up as, even though it's finished. What's your mindset like then in terms of initially and the next painting? What's the process that goes through your mind then?
I was going to say something different then, but
no, go on.
I get what you're saying. Like, I'll just keep doing the painting until I think it's where it needs to be, and that's the good thing about painting and oil paints as well. You can just keep working it until you get it right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can be frustrating sometimes if it doesn't look how you want to, but I'm super, super self-critical. As in, I want it to be perfect. So if someone will be like, oh my god, it looks amazing, and I'm like, it's not even like half done sort of thing, and it's like, oh my god, that's great to hear that, but the way you can get
it's
it,
not where I'm at.
Exactly. It's like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then second to that, what was I going to say? I was going to say, art, but starting it. That's why even just getting back into the art was kind of mental. I literally did that first piece of Kanye West just as a test to see that if I had it. I remember that when I gave up art 10 years ago, the last piece that I did, I just couldn't get it right. And I didn't know because at the time I was doing it sporadically, a couple of months would go by, I'd do it a little bit, but I didn't manage to get that piece. I never finished it, sort of thing. So I was not nervous, but I was like, geez, can I still even do it?
Yeah.
And so when Kanye West come out all right, I was like, cool, if I can just keep building, then it'll get better, as in the style, but at least you've got something to work with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, even just, especially when you're doing commissions and stuff, you want to impress the person who's obviously the client. Do you know what I mean? So there's always a bit of oh my God, will they like it? But as long as you put in the hard work and stuff, and you've done your best that you can do on that painting, then that, I guess that's fortunately been enough. So far.
Sure.
Do you get what I mean?
That's interesting that you spoke about the Kanye West painting, and you said you stopped 10 years ago, and you were sort of doing it sporadically. So do you feel like the key to your paintings is because you've now started back up, is that consistency with staying to doing the paintings more frequently, as opposed to the sporadic time between maybe when you were doing the paintings 10 years ago?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when I was doing that, I was 17, 18, do you know what I mean? And I think I'm just so much more mentally stronger now in terms of, just life, etc. To get it done, consistency, hard work, all them kind of things that you learn along the way, that's now what I feel it's going to be big, because it's I know what you need to do to get it to where it needs to be. And so now it's just a case of doing it. And so that's why when you do get a nice little comment or something like this comes up or whatever, it's that's even more reason why to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Because it can be disheartening at times. Do you know what I mean? If it's not going how you want it to, and that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you can just keep disciplined, I think that's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, even just posting on a regular basis, that's hard enough in itself. Do you know what I mean? That's a job in itself. But yeah, I've been with some people in my past that who are getting there. They're going to do amazing things, and they're posting every day, and I didn't really get it. And I was like, why'd you keep doing that?
Yeah.
But then you see what they get off the back of it, and it's now I get it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
it's like a repetition for success. They know, right, this is a formula. They have to keep doing it. They have to, because also as well, if you're another company or you're a brand, and they're looking at you, and they want to sort of collaborate with you, they're going to look at the consistency of your posts.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? And that's what people don't realise. They think,
how engaged are you? And then how reputable is that
are
person?
you speaking to your community? Do you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. There's a girl who lives around here actually, and she started up a gym page, and it was doing so well, amazing. She's a good looking girl, obviously got the good body. Her videos are really good. She was putting out great food content, the types of meals you're meant to be in. And then she just stopped doing it. And I could see her followers. I'll check regularly on her stuff just to see her doing well. I was like, oh my God, this girl's doing amazing. Just keep doing it. And then she just stopped one day, and it was the followers were going up by hundreds at a time over a period of a few weeks. Or, do you know what I mean? Just keep doing it. But she stopped, and she's not doing it. But if she would have kept going, and that was maybe a year ago or something like that, she'd be picking up brand deals. She'd be, do you know what I mean?
I think that's such an interesting point, because as well, I think sometimes people are not necessarily at the point in their life, or they're ready to, or even want to. She may have got to that point where, like you're saying, it's a job in itself to post stuff out.
It is.
That may have just
really
got to that point where she was like, look, I'm tired, or I'm drained, or this maybe
judgment from other people.
Yeah, or this just isn't for me. Maybe, I don't know. Again, I don't know the person, but she might have just got to that point and was just like, bang, I just want to stop, or I just want to take some time out. But like you're saying, it's difficult, because then if you're, a brand, or if you're someone who wants to collaborate, it's bang, I want to see how, you know, frequent you post and how much engagement you're going to have with individuals as well. And that's key. In terms of, you spoke as well by just saying, you know, 10 years ago and when you went back to starting your first Kanye West painting recently, there was almost like that little bit of, have I still got it? Do you still feel like you still got that little bit of, you know, that self-doubt? And like you spoke about with, like, you know, the validation of people, you know, feedback and stuff like that. Talk to me about, that side of it with yourself.
I think, like, every time you start a new painting, it's not nerve-wracking, I wouldn't say that, but it's like, is this one going to turn out as good as the last? Or can I make it better than the last one? There's always that. And then once you're like, I don't know, a good few hours into it, and you can start to see things come together, you're like, oh, cool, I'm on a wave. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's looking good. Especially when I did paint that little girl, I was like, I could just tell it was going to be a good one. Like with that Drake one there, I was like, you can just feel it in a way. Do you know what I mean? Like the colours are coming together nice and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, at the beginning of any painting, it's always a bit like, oh God, like even if you paint the last one, it's like, oh my God, can I still make it as good as the last and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's a real thing. But you know, I think you just get on with it and do it. Do you know what I mean?
And then after, like you said, the first couple of hours, when you first start to see something come together, do you then just sort of feed off the energy of that? Yeah. Of when you've seen that initial, this is what I've wanted it to look like. Do you then just feed off that energy and just carries on, sort of thing? Yeah,
a little bit in the paintings. Like, it's like, oh, this is turning out wicked. It's getting to what I want it to be. But that's why I say social media is so big. Like for me, it's like when I'm posting a picture, because I'll generally post various stages of the painting, and people are like, oh my God, love this person or that, or do you know what I mean? That's a bigger buzz and also motivator for me, because it's like, I'm not just doing it for the client or me. It's like people are like, oh my God, I'm loving that. I'm loving what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. Like, yeah, that's almost a bigger driver and kind of.
I think that's probably a bigger driver, because you can sense that there's more out there, and the more people appreciating what you are just doing. Like, even if you get that, because if you got that commission, right, and you locally you was known to do lots of paintings, and let's just say you stuck locally and maybe used, let's say, some Facebook, maybe did a couple of sponsored posts every now and again, and you know, wasn't posting pictures up, you was known, you're still getting paintings done, and you're still doing it as the side hustle, you're probably not going to get that engagement from people through like the Facebook or the ads as much. You're probably not going to get the sort of feedback from people. But also, I think with the Instagram as well, especially, so many people, it's like people tagging people in there. You're getting so many different comments from people. I think it's good to have that wider connection and be like, actually, yeah, bang, they like it, they love it, they've commented on it. Well,
exactly, and even if they're like, I think you should paint that next or whatever. Like, I love that engagement side of it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's mattering to people. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're leaving a comment, you're obviously liking it enough to wanna go out of your way at some point in the day and be like, okay, this is cool, or I think you should do that. Do you know what I mean? And like, that is enough to be like, okay, cool, yeah. And I just think like, how few people I've even known that I'm about and do what I'm doing. It's only a matter of time before something like big comes out of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when you start getting into, the kind of big people that we're talking about, like, people like it at this level, so people are all humans, you know what I mean? So there's no reason why, just because someone's famous or someone's multi like that, they're not gonna like the painting, do you know what I mean? So when I get to them, it's just,
I think it's key as well that, like you said, that those types of people are human. I think sometimes we put a sort of tag and label on people that almost forces us to, like I said earlier off air, almost sometimes be scared of
100%.
Again, because all it is that position that they're in, really. Ultimately, they are, if it is Drake and you are getting commissioned and stuff, ultimately, he still is a human. You're gonna meet him, and he's gonna talk to you on a human level. He's not gonna talk to you through someone who's sat there and get you to translate.
But the way that you act towards them is why you're acting. Why it's a weird conversation.
Yeah, and I think they feed off that sometimes, don't they? And I think that's where sometimes the actual artists, like Drake or whoever, when they go and meet these people, I think what it's like the artists on the other side. I think they have that connection with them through the art sometimes as well. They don't have to even speak to them. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but because again, they know the time, the effort. There's something about them, whether it's something that's even has been commissioned, or you're a fan of them or whatever. They sort of connect, going, okay, I can understand this person. They've got some sort of affiliation. They like what I do, or they like who I am as a person, and they see that through the art. And I think there's that mutual respect as well. Yeah,
and I think I've been lucky in that, like working in TV, you're around a lot of high profile people and bloody blah and celebrities and that kind of stuff. And so for me, it's like, I obviously still like meeting like new people and stuff, but it's just become normal. Do you know what I mean? Whereas it's not like, oh my God, like it's now, oh look, there's whoever, and it's kind of normalized it a bit. Do you know what I mean? Which is cool.
At first, what was you like though? Was you like,
that's crazy.
Was you like,
Yeah, like I remember, the way I got into TV was that I'd just come out of uni, wanted to make a lot of money and that kind of stuff. And then a family friend who was a producer on X Factor at the time, she wanted someone to come in and just do a bit of running, like make teas and all that kind of stuff. And this was X Factor back in the day, like in this prime, like in the Lewis days, all that kind of stuff.
Geez.
And then I went in because I wasn't working at the time, coming off the back of uni and stuff. I was like, I don't really want to do it, mum, blah blah. She was like, nah, you're going in, you need to earn some money. Yeah. So I went in and loved it, like the buzz of live studios and all that kind of stuff. You're seeing like Simon Cowell walking down the hallway, and was it Cheryl Cole or whoever was the other presenter at the
Sharon,
judge at the Sharon or whoever it was. And it's like, oh my God, loved it. And then it was the year of Ryland's birthday.
Okay,
Right, it was Ryland's year, and at one of the parties, it was his birthday the following week, and at his birthday party, one of the runners ended up doing some mischief with one of the contestants, and so she got fired, or like, she left. And then that kind of opened up the door for me to come in and do the rest of the series, and from there I went from X Factor to Britain's Got Talent to X Factor. And
have you thanked that person for the mischief since? Have you?
Well, she's gone on to do a lot bigger, better things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's now a big YouTuber and and all that kind of stuff. So she's doing well in herself.
It's all worked full circle then.
Yeah. I wouldn't be feeling sorry for her. She's doing more than all right.
Decent. Within your art, what's sort of next for you? Just talk about yourself again, the paintings as well. Where do you see yourself and your work going forwards?
I just want to keep getting it out. To build a big community of people that are talking about what I'm doing. Like I get a real buzz off that, and then the main goal is to just keep getting to big people. Do you know what I mean? At the minute, I'm obviously just doing friends and the kind of people that are in the industry and that kind of stuff. But I want to get to big people and stuff like that. And I think that with consistency and that kind of stuff, I should be able to get there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it only takes one moment, because social media is so crazy these days. Do you know what I mean? Like one picture can turn it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
I just had a DJ get in touch the other day who's a fairly big. I don't really know DJs and that kind of stuff, but it's like more of that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's no one person that I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, it's just broadening.
Exactly. It's more just just moving in them circles and just getting into that. It's just that's for me. That's what I'm trying to do. Do you know what I mean?
Sick. For sure. Sort of want to wrap it up, but there's a few questions I want to ask you. What's the single-handed most valuable item you've purchased?
A car. Well, apart from my house.
Anything that's your...
Oh, valuable. Yeah, I think it was probably my car, because I spoke about it on my car stories the other day. My car, just because I don't really spend a lot on luxury items just for yourself. And my car was literally just one thing that I was like, I've worked hard, do you know what I mean? I think I deserve it, and so I went out and got it.
Yeah.
Whereas for the most part, don't go on too many holidays and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Fortunately, because I'm lucky to go around with TV and go away and stuff. But yeah, I don't really do too much of that, and so it's more than just a car. It's kind of just for me, because it's I deserve that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like a present to yourself.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of
for the work and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. When
little
you're
thing.
driving, it's like, yeah, cool. Like this is, yeah, it's been worth it.
Sick.
And I love driving.
Well, also as well, what's the biggest advice that someone's given you that you've that's stuck with you today, that you use in your everyday life?
Jeez. Some advice that
stuck with you, that someone's given you throughout the years or throughout growing up, that is stuck with you, that you use today?
My God. I don't know. I think I talk about the work ethic of my parents. Like, just, they work a lot. Do you know what I mean? And especially my dad being self-employed and stuff. To do that every day. And he's getting old. He's, 67 now? Whatever. And still doing it, like, just every day. Like, I wouldn't say there's one piece of advice, but just seeing them as role models. Do you know what I mean?
It's that reflection of what they're doing to almost install into you the work that they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? It's like
back to you.
Exactly. If they're working, I can't afford not to be.
Yeah.
Because it would be nice one day to be able to afford to buy them this and that and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like, that's just seeing that every day, day in, day out. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a work ethic rather than a specific piece of advice.
Cool.
Do you know what I mean? To get to wherever, you know?
If someone's looking to start art, where would you say start off with? What would be the first initial advice?
DM me for a start.
DM, get straight in.
Yeah, get straight into the DMs.
Straight in.
If they're looking to start, I think you just got to do it. Like, and a couple of people have actually got in touch with me and like, oh, how do I get prints done? How do I start this? What material should I, you're like, 100% get in touch. But like, you just got to do it. Do you know what I mean? And I would say, put your stuff out there. Do you know what I mean? And then you'll start getting feedback. But the advice is do it. Yeah. Like, that is the answer. Like, go and take action and go and do it.
Would it be do it and not worry about anything else as well, do you think? Not worry about what people are going to think when you're doing it?
It depends what your reason is, do you know what I mean? If you're doing it for you, then it's then it doesn't matter. If you're doing it for someone else, then it does matter. And I think that was the shift for me, is that when I started then posting every day, it's like, if a picture doesn't do well, I don't care. I don't care how many pictures gets. I don't care how many likes a picture gets, because I'm just putting it up because I just want a documentation of the journey of where I'm getting to. Do you know what I mean? So I can be like, oh my God, I was in my bedroom then painting that and now I'm here, or I painted that and I gave it to that person. So that was at that point. I'm doing it for myself. So it doesn't really matter how much engagement or what it does online. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And so that shift is why I'm posting every day, because I don't actually care now what people are saying, because it's not for them.
How long did that take? That shift?
Till now.
Yeah.
Literally till now.
So it's not something that was quick, it was just a gradual...
Well, there was a couple of events that happened at the end of last year / New Year's or whatever, and life changes or whatever, and you're like, right, well, what are you going to do? You're going to kind of lay down and die, or you're going to bounce back. Do you know what I mean? And so yeah, that was a shift there, and I was just like, yeah, I've got to go for it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And yeah, been doing it since. And I think what I'm most worried about is that I'll get to a point where I'll just be like, no, I can't bother to do this anymore. Not because it's like what I'm producing is not good, but it's just like, what I talk about is that consistency. Do you know what I mean? And it's being consistent when you don't want to do it. Yeah. That takes you to that next level. And yeah, I worry about when that comes and you're like, because it got to that point before 10 years ago when I was like, I can't bother to be doing this, and I ended up not doing it. And so I'm waiting for that bubble to burst. But at the minute, I'm just doing it because I'm enjoying it, and it's, I
think that's the key as well, isn't it? And maybe part of that is, like you're saying, setting a goal where, it may be something that you're forever chasing, but then that helps with the consistency, because it's bang, right, I want to get to here. And even if you're, you feel like you're not necessarily there, you might have gone past one hurdle that was an initial goal, but then you got another, so it's something that you can always sort of aspire to, which I think is something that may help with, especially if you're talking about, posting stuff on Instagram and stuff, is keeping stuff out there.
Exactly. And I think what I've learned as well is that, or what I'm trying to learn and learning, is that sometimes you just need to relax with it. Like, you'll get there. Life is long, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm 28, and so I'm probably going to live another 2 lifetimes, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's time. And I think, I always, as to my friends and stuff, I'm like, I want to do it, be successful young, and but things happen when they're meant to happen, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, at the minute I just see like everything has been a culmination to this point, and moving forward, hopefully, yeah, that will kind of pay off.
Yeah, I think it's just exactly you said. It's the way I think it's the way that you look at things. Like, you can see a 75-year-old lottery winner wins 100 mil, and you're like, mate, imagine if he would have won that 50 years ago.
I would never want to live with the lottery, you know.
Yeah, but then you see the ones that like win the lottery when they're 21 and they
Mm.
win, 10, 15 mil, and you're just like, well, you can't have it both ways. Like you're saying, life happens, and everything does happen for a reason. I think you've got to be comfortable with that, and I think when you are at that point where you can understand that, I think that helps as well.
Yeah, definitely, and it doesn't always make sense as to why things are happening. Just know that if you can push through the hard times, it'll be alright.
100%. Just to close off, just want to get your advice on one last bit in terms of social media and your art. Do you feel like there'll ever be a point where you'll sort of step away and just make art and let other people sort of distribute or whatever? Like, you'll get to that point where I want to sort of understand, if you get to that real sort of high point where you're, forever commissioned, you've got to make so much art. What do you think the difference between you and the, because we spoke about the engagement and the connection, you and sort of like the consumer or the people will be like? Do you feel like if that got to a point where you was, so big or so many commissions that you had to have like a management team or something?
100%.
What do you feel like that and affects the enjoyment or, the pieces that you're putting out?
No, because I think you'd still be putting out like your paintings. Do you know what I mean? It's still your work and stuff. Obviously, I'll always be on my Instagram, but like a couple of other people are like running it now. Do you know what I mean? So people will be telling me about messages that I'm getting, or like an opportunity that comes up. So I literally, the second that I can afford to, do you know what I mean, employ someone or have someone even like on an ad hoc basis.
Yeah.
I'll be doing that. Like, even just document the journey. There's a wicked guy called Tom Avery who does the video content that I'm putting out and stuff. And so when I do an event now, then he comes along and videos it. Do you know what I mean? And so investing back in, and it's returning money each year, I'll happily put that money into the adverts for Instagram, Facebook, and then beyond that, it's putting money into people that can help. So if someone's amazing on social media in terms of getting it out there or manage or PR or whatever, do you know what I mean? Anything's going to help it, I'll be looking to outsource that straight away. Strengths that I don't have, do you know what I mean? I'm looking to outsource that as soon as possible to build up a little team, do you know what I mean? Because I think that, you can't always get to where you want on your own, do you know what I mean? It's good to have a team and people around you that can help you with that.
Trust in the process and trust in the people that you're going to have around you as well.
Trust in the people you have around you.
Yeah.
That's been the biggest learning curve. Trust, like, if you've got negative around you, like, you're going nowhere. Do you know what I mean? Because you
How do you identify that sometimes? Because is it, I know you may have had those negative things around you, but are those negative things something that's consistently, or are those negative things that are, little digs or something that may be chipped away occasionally? And when you're, reflecting, actually that, what are those?
Yeah,
for you personally?
I think when you take a step back and you look at a situation, and sometimes it's like, it's a blessing, and like, how am I going to say this? It's like, it's a blessing because you learned something from it. I never look back and think, oh God, I wish I'd never done that. I always look back and think, like, that's exactly what had to happen to get to where we are now. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think there's something that can always be taken from a negative. Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
So yeah.
Sick. Top man, thanks for coming on. I appreciate the chat. Look forward to getting the paintings out there. If people want to, again, get to you on social media, specifically Instagram, or also your paintings, where can they find them all?
Yeah, so the main one is Instagram. Just follow me at _M_White, and yeah, you'll get me there.
Cool. Top man, appreciate it.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
That's a wrap for this week's podcast, guys. Thanks for listening in. And again, special thanks for Laurence for coming on the podcast. Hope you guys go and follow Laurence. And again, just sort of stay tuned to Laurence's progress as a person and as an artist. Again, from me, I really do appreciate you listening in. And as always, try and share and spread the message. Appreciate it. Peace.